great to see you all here. Please forgive me if my voice will fail at some point, because today from early morning I was examining Matura students, so after a few hours of speaking I may have some problems.
How did the exams go?
They did excellent.
That's right.
They did excellent. I remember Piotr Steinzig in 2012 was doubting if 21st century skills are a serious thing or just a fad. I remember that, but it seems that there is something in that, and I will try to prove that it's something that we need to focus on. My name is Martin Stanowski. I'm a teacher of English for almost 20 years, and currently for some time I'm interested in critical thinking and debunking fake news, but also really hooked on debating. And I hope that if you come to an IETF Poland conference in Gdańsk, you will have another chance to see absolutely fantastic teachers, debaters, and we promise you some juicy critical thinking talk. But today we talk about young upstanders against fake news and hate speech. And I must say that I've taken not too much. Probably if I were to prepare for this talk once again, I would get rid of hate speech, because fake news itself is enough. But I want to make a point. I hope that you manage to be attentive to the very end. Well, fake news. Let's start with fake news. It's not anything new. If you recognize the guy, it's Augustus Caesar, formerly known as Octavian. And you know, when Julius Caesar got killed, there were high chances that Mark Antony would be the next emperor. But what Octavian then did, he simply promoted some fake news about Mark Antony. We know that he was in an affair with Cleopatra, and defamed him. He prepared a fake document in which he declared that because of the affair with Cleopatra, Mark Antony is not fit to be the ruler of Rome. Next, in 1475, Bernardino III, Italian Franciscan monk, spread the news that Jews residing in Italy captured Italian boys and girls, drained blood from them, and of course prepared the rituals, matzah and so on. Later on he became saint, shortly after his death. Do you know Benjamin Franklin? Cool guy, scientist, journalist, founding father of the USA. Well, as you remember, essentially it was a time of battle with colonialists, with British, and what he did, he simply wrote in few of newspapers that he ran, that Indians are dealing with British and massively capture Americans, scalp them, kill them. Of course, that led to pretty much hatred against Indians and British troops. Later on, in 1933, Dr. Goebbels helped Hitler by designing a special magazine, one of many, that underneath the attack, which defamed, ridiculed, discredited Jews, accusing them of economical threat to to Germany. So as we know, as we see, fake news have always been, are, and will be. We've got new forms of fake news as Mobo Challenge or Blue Whale. It appears that they're not real threats. However, after spreading them in social media, some individuals decided to organize such threat to young people, and they really sent WhatsApp messages inviting them to take part in a game with Momo, which later on led to few suicides of children. So as you know, fake news is most of the time connected in some way to spreading hate, hatred, hence today's topic. What we need to do, we probably would like to protect our children, our students against that. And you would ask why it should be always the job of teachers of English. Well, simply because we are awesome, and we are saving the world. I mean, just because we can do so many things at our lessons. We can involve our students in so many ways. That's why we should. If we can, we should. And some time ago, a phrase was coined about digital natives. I guess after a few years after 20 almost years of 21st century, we need to change this coined phrase into digital naives. Simply because, for example, Stanford research from 2016 shows us that 80% of middle school students can't tell ads from articles, or most high school students accept photographs as real without checking, or many high school students couldn't tell real or fake news source apart on Facebook. And what's even worse, Stanford students argued that fake account was more trustworthy than the real one. Well, they also couldn't identify the difference between the mainstream source or a fringe one. And if you remember the Trump elections, well, we had a serious thoughts about it, and we know that nowadays the document by investigator Meller in America was not published. It was not published because President Trump said that it won't be published. So we still don't know if Russians were effective in spreading fake news. So that Trump was elected. But we probably know, and you must know, that there was a village in Macedonia called Veles, in which simply few teenagers, young adolescents, set up their own business of designing fake websites and massively publishing fake news, which were leaning towards Trump. Some experts say that it may have had an effect. And it was the same with Twitter bots, and some suggest, even some former employees of Russian organizations claim that it was almost $2 million spent on this anti-American campaign. So why fake news is harmful? It's fake, okay. It's not fake. As we know, there are alternative facts, or maybe dueling facts, or maybe dueling narrative, or maybe as Rudolph Giuliani a few days said, truth isn't truth, simply. Well, of course, it's harmful because it has got this aspect of continued influence. So even if the source is withdrawn from the internet, the atmosphere and rumors spread. What's more, we've got another psychological phenomenon here, which is priming effect. So, if you believe in one fake news, later on you are more susceptible to similar fake news or fake news from the same source. Of course, it's affecting our choice and beliefs, and what's most important, very often, not always, but very often, leading to the rise of violence. And it spreads like disease. The grandson of Caesar Augustus, Gaius, died on February 21st, Anno Domini, the 4th year, Anno Domini. And you know what? The message was sent to Pisa, over 2,000 kilometers away, and the message was delivered after around 35, 36 days. So the news wasn't traveling that much, and well, one page of information could weigh like a few bytes, let's say. But now, every month, only through mobile connections, we transfer nowadays around 35 exabytes. 1 exabyte is trillion, quintillion American bytes. So it's getting faster and faster. So it's not a problem to get fake news, because we always have had them. However, the problem is that we seriously are drowning in it. And that's the real problem. Because affecting our body, because people have got killed, also our mind, because we simply believe in crap. Later on I will tell you how crap can help us. How do we take care of our children? Well, for example, by giving them medicine, and those medicine are simply, well, informing, fact-checking, on the spot, at the time when something bad happens. So, you may use some of the IT solutions, simply fact-checking websites, fact-checking groups, and every year we've got at least 10 more fact-checking groups all over the world. And of course, media tycoons help us a bit. But you know what? This is one of the offices of Facebook where we've got so-called content arbiters. People who analyze the posts and decide if something is to be removed or not. And we've got one center in Warsaw, we've got one center in Philippines, few centers in America, and one Facebook content arbiter needs to do 2,500 posts a day. And they are paid by speed. So you must understand it's not effective. Well, we've got AI tools, but still they're developing. And forgive me for showing the photo that I will show now. For example, this photo, which was published on Facebook, wasn't cleared. Why? Because Facebook policy says there is no image of anybody there. So we cannot attribute its hatred targeted at some individual, as Facebook arbiters claimed. Of course, we've got some Facebook, some fact-checking apps, but they're not very popular. Mostly they are in America, and well, if we've got not enough users, we've got not enough data, we cannot fight fake news efficiently. Again, you may install in your web browser a fact-checking extension, but please just take a look at the number of users. And these are the most popular. That's nothing. Well, what we can do, we can try to vaccinate our students against it instead of acting on the spot. And, well, We can do it through media literacy. But, I mean new media literacy, because, as such, media literacy is almost non-existent in Polish education. But if it is, it focuses on facts about ICT, maybe copyrights, maybe addictions, and it's not the point. We need new media literacy, which deals with critical thinking, relations online and offline, and empathy. Also on fact-checking, but as I will tell you at the end, that's not that easy. How do we know that fake is fake? Very often, the message is hyperbolic, or subjective, or emotional, loaded with strong emotions. And we need to kind of get the message across to students. They need to know that so they can spot such messages quicker. Also, probably there are some characteristics. If the fake news is published by left-leaning source, they are probably more about harm, care, safety, fairness, values of the audience. But if they are right-wing, of course, this is more about loyalty, authority, respect, values, very often connected with religion. And now, let me show you some tools that we may use. And I just want to make a point. In Ukraine, for the past 2 years, there was a campaign led by Canadian-American foundation IREX, and they produced a continuing learning system called Learn to Discern. And these were additional classes for students and for adults in order to prepare them to perception of fake news. And the results are quite promising because we've got around 20% more people who are able to discern fake news from facts. But those are additional classes and only for a limited group. What we need to introduce the media literacy in our lessons as integrated part of our learning. Of course, mathematicians can teach about logical fallacies. Historians can teach about how Holocaust changed the world. But also we, teachers of English, teachers of languages dealing with the word, can do something about it. And, for example, we can teach students how to not fall for clickbait, which is the inherent part of most of fake news. Do you know what's written on the board? Definitely not. And if you're just like me, you would fall for that. You would click it. I would click it if it wasn't me who designed it, right? But then we can trace some linguistic factors that can give us some clues about what is fake news. For example, you won't believe how these 9 facts with shocking truth about teachers work that. The 7th one is disgusting. Student tries to learn his lesson. Her lesson should be. You won't believe what teacher did to her. Or why teacher will no longer be able to do this. Well, we need to look for clues, and those clues are such. Now, of course, more of them as we've got more and more clickbaits. But let's say there would be like 100 or let's say 1,000 clickbait templates. You can do that throughout the education of students. You can do that. And I can see the value in teaching about clickbait because it could be fun. Take this clickbait, historical clickbait. Twitter users, if you follow Twitter with hashtag historical clickbait, you will know what I'm talking about. Who is this about? Jesus Christ, of course. And, well, I invite my students to a game. And I also invite you to a game. Can you please tell me who is it about? Columbus, of course. No. Take it deeper.
Is it progenitor?
What celestial order? I mean, what celestial order? The moon, of course, right? Now, take this. Martin Luther. Okay. 10 rules you got to obey. You won't believe 7 commandments. And of course, these are just jokes, but can lead you and can lead students to simply familiarization with some of the templates. Sorry, I've got some more for you. What's the event? What's the event? Global, of course. Trojan Horse, of course. Titanic, of course. Again, we get Julius Caesar. I invite students to another game or exercise. I ask my students to write down, just random professions, nouns, verbs, adjective, emotion, and later on give them the templates. Okay? Can you think of some profession which was noun? I know it's kind of silly, but it shows again the way the clickbaits are formulated. So just a few days ago, we had some creative lesson about that. We revised this way some adjectives of emotion, for example, but we also had fun. Now, next thing, would you like to play bingo with me? Okay, so if you could please spread it to the ground. So this idea comes from stopfake.org, which is a web page dealing with fake news against Ukraine. Tell me when you're ready. I will show you a series of images and treat it the way that that you would probably sit in front of a computer or a TV, and you simply go through several things, and your task is, of course, to shout bingo if you see some fakes. All of them are original Patsu. Ready? Check if you got the. Ivana Kulinpush was Vice Prime Minister of Ukraine. That was a. Yeah. Okay. Next one. Okay, next one.
Okay.
Later on I'll show you the tool with which I did that. Okay? It's a drunk, supposedly drunk Father Christmas at his Schippedonner, and it was brought to the world by one of the British tabloids. Later on, apology was sent. Of course, it was on a 9th page with a tiny script. Okay? Can we go on? If you've got, it's a simply poorly photoshopped image. This is supposedly happened in 2017 during the Independence March. Actually, it was reported by Washington Post, and all other media around the world, seeing that it was Washington Post, they spread it. Later on, I will show you. This is the link to the apology in which the editor explained. Actually, he didn't explain. He simply admitted that he took this photo from Poznan from 2015 after one of the football matches. It doesn't mean that it's good. It's simply improper journalism. Okay? And you expect Washington Post rather to not use face. And even it's taken out of the context, it's still, this is this continued influence. Of course, the commentary was about Islamists snoping on Polish students. However, this portal is full of similar news. Here, we've got was caused by mystery of explosion in inverted commas, but most of people who read it don't see that. Okay, did you have any bingo? Yeah? Did you? Okay, maybe I got too quick about it, but you can easily find some fake news that I found. And if you count, you can show students how easily it could be done with class tools. And then you get a template for such things. Okay? So, I hope it is not seen as an incentive for creating fake news. But in order it's not to be the incentive, you need to create a proper dialogue with your students. Okay, so let's talk about some other skills that students should have. For example, they should be able to search the internet by images. So if they see this photo, which is supposedly be found at Fukushima, near Fukushima nuclear plant, they should be able to search by image and find that, well, the world is full of such flowers, and this particular flower doesn't come from Fukushima, because it was used in many other posts. It was taken in Sydney, right? Okay, I promised you to tell you how crap can save us. So let's talk about how crap can save us. Crap can save us in this way, that we should teach our students to take every piece of news with questions about currency. Is the topic, is the message current, or is it maybe reheated after a few years? Or is it relevant to the country? Is it relevant to us? Maybe the message was simply translated from other culture to ours, and it's not really valid. Authority. Well, we should teach our students to know which sources are more trustworthy than others. For example, Washington Post should be. Or accuracy, which means that students should be able to track the source. Or maybe students should also think about what could be the purpose of such thing, of defaming someone, of spreading hatred, of discrediting somebody. Of course, something that we always do in our books from time to time, you can also find at Matura, but I dare say that we should have this habit of always asking students, whatever text we do and whatever listening comprehension we do, can they found facts, can they found opinions? So let it be the habit. Okay? And of course, if it's going to be a habit, we need to repeat it many, many times. Well, I told you that fact-checking could be fun. So there are plenty of games, simulations, which help us, which can help us in finding the facts. Here's one of them, but at the end of the presentation there will be several else. You can go to Get News, Bad News, when you can be the troll and publish in a game, of course, some of the messages and see how your popularity of the web page, how the popularity of the web page is growing. Okay, so now let's just for a few seconds think about that. Is all fake news bad? The question to you. Oh, well, we had Operation N in Poland during the Second World War, and Polish troops were publishing more than 20 such magazines which were targeted either at Volksdeutsch or at soldiers, right? Or take this one. Are you scared? Where? I was scared when my students, when my parents told me not to go away because the black Volga can get me, right? Or my grandma used this argument of Bernardino the Felch that the Jews will get me, or the Gypsies will get me. Right? I'm sure that you had, when you were young, similar experiences. Well, there are some funny fake news, and if you go to Ask Jenny or to The Onion, you will see plenty of them. For example, a special breed of tree octopus, or spaghetti crops in Italy, which was a fake news. Well, it was a BBC thing in 1964, I guess. Or flying penguins, again another BBC commercial this time.
But the BBC does on the April Fool's Day.
Yeah, they did. Okay, how to protect against fake news? Well, 90 seconds. Before click it, before share it, take some time. If it's packed with strong emotions, let it ring a bell. If you doubt if this is true, find some original source and read laterally. So check some other web pages, some other sources, what other people could say about it. So the truth is in the network. If we act together, we can do it more successfully. Well, why fake news very often leads to aggression or hatred? Well, simply because those strong emotions provoke us to some action. This is simply commerce. This is inviting us to click. So another web page could be open, so we can see next batch of pop-ups, banners, leading us to yet another web page, and so on and so on. So actually, troll farms are earning on us, right? And there's another thing which was attributed to Jonathan Swift. We say in Polish that kłamstwo ma krótkie nóżki, right? That's not true nowadays. Apart from teaching about fake news, we also have to do something about hate speech. And apart from the fact that I'm a teacher of English, I'm also a psychologist, and for some years I was doing the workshop with young people about the language of giraffe, or assertiveness, or this was called aggression training, right? Anti-aggression training, right? And I believe that we should also incorporate it in our teaching. We need to tell our students what's the difference between one message and another, and there's always another yet different way to express our thoughts, opinions, not only in manipulative, passive-aggressive, aggressive or submissive way. And I deeply believe in I message, komunikat ja in Polish, right? When I did the workshops with students, I had this feeling that somehow it's artificial. Like suddenly we need to start saying, nie podoba mi się, co robiłeś. Czuję się głęboko zraniony. Pragnąłbym, abyś zmienił swoje podejście. But when it's in English, it sounds more natural. And students don't feel they are trained, they simply feel that, well, we are learning how to communicate in English. English do that. So, when I get interrupted during my presentation, I feel frustrated. Because it breaks my concentration, I might forget something. Could you please stop chatting at the back? Okay. So, I feel when you, because, and then, instead of, shut up! Okay? Okay. I also ask students to do role plays like that in some everyday life situations. And I've got a feeling, and of course I haven't tested it like scientifically, but I've got a feeling that it's simply more natural in English than in Polish. So by doing this procedure, we simply focus on feelings. We don't paste with judgments. We don't provoke unnecessarily hatred. Let me jump through some slides as we are running out of time. I very often ask students to analyze some hate speech, and I do it with a jigsaw activity. So I assign each group of students a different question, and when they're done with discussing it, I simply mix them up. So in each group, there are representatives of other previous groups, and they simply share. Okay, so it's yet another speaking activity, and I usually do it when we talk about crime. And I remember again Piotr's talk about how often we really need the crime language in everyday life. But this is something that I believe that it's needed. Okay? Again, another thing that I do is simply ask students to rank, which is the worst, which is the least good. Of course, they all work, they are all bad, but at least it's some kind of deeper processing, right? You simply try to discuss it further. Okay. I did several times a debate which was concerning this, and like this one, teachers shouldn't be allowed to strike. It's not much about hate, or maybe is it? Because I was like talking to my students about the strike, and they said, yeah, no, go, don't strike, no problem. But if you talk to parents, well, it's another issue. Okay, how to react to hate speech? Make a screenshot. So you have a proof with a date stamp, with the URL. Tell about the people who you trust. Report it to the police or some other forces if it's a life-threatening situation. Well, if you really feel the urge to react in writing, attack the problem, not the person. And now, this is something which I really believe in, and I said at the beginning that in order to do some of these topics, you need to have a very good relation with students, because simply they will not be very willing to tackle difficult issues. That's why I absolutely support Marta Roślińska's and Paweł Śpiewak's not this campaign, and I really believe that we should focus on relations, because it's yet another, please be patient, another way to vaccinate against hate news and fake speech. So again, you should be critical thinkers, so you should think whether I used sources. At the bottom of each slide you saw the links to the source of my information. Did I list information sources I used? Not yet. I will publish it on probably through organizers, right? Okay, you don't have to take photos; it will be published. And I want to leave you with one thought. What we can do, we can check facts. But more and more often, we are faced facts with dueling truths. And we see the same objective fact as a fact from religion. But the understanding, the interpretation of the same message is totally different when you are red or blue in America, or when you are in Poland. And you know what? With this, we can't fight. With this, we'll not win. And what's more, I have a feeling that those dueling facts, this is a term which is quite current in American journalism, we will not win. And it's present in Poland as well. If you have a chance, read the new book, One Nation, Two Realities, which analyzes the political situation in America. It will also ring a bell many times, and we'll think about Poland as well. Okay? So at least that's what we can do. For dueling facts will not win. Thank you very much.